Hello everybody. I wanted to do a video on how to make some gold and bags that are a decent size, very easy to make, and you can make some profit off of this too. Okay, so first off, there's some setup that you need to do, some prep work as far as, getting this all to work together. First, got to get that garrison to level 3. It's very important because there's going to be certain vendors that you're going to have access to that only a level 3 has. I would also suggest you have about 10 alts that have a level 3 garrison. And then also try to find someone other than yourself that has the same setup. And I'll go into that in particular once we get inside this garrison. There's a couple followers you need to get a hold of. I'll go over that. I'll go over the map. Also, your tailoring emporium. Make sure that's at level 3. And then what's helpful as far as, another part, and I'm going to talk about the inscription. Make sure your scribe quarters are level 3 also. And you're going to need that extra vendor to be able to get the mass milling. So this is a tailoring scribe using the garrison and how to make gold. And I'm going to go over, some of the missions you need to keep an eye out for as far as getting those rush orders and, some was first. So the first thing I like to do when I'm going to try to cycle through my tunes and make some gold is get my cash. I just got the cash earlier, so I really don't have much. Check my mail, see what I have, bring that in there, so just in case I've sent anything to my alt. First, let's talk about the level 3 garrison. Now, once you have a level 3 garrison, you have different individuals that are showing up in your garrison. The most important, and while we're doing this, is this slot right here. You're either going to have Harrison Jones show up on a daily basis, or 2 other types of fighters, or a vendor. And it's totally random per tune. So if I jump to an alt and I go to this location, they may necessarily not have Harrison Jones, and they may not necessarily have the trader for that day. And it's the same trader for the entire game. So if there's an herb trader here, when you see an herb trader, everybody that has a level 3 garrison has an herb trader if they have the trader. So keep that in mind. It's kind of a pain when you want to do the mass milling. So, and for Drainer to get mass milling on the inscription, you got to get it at the herb vendor. And you got to have enough of the cerulean pigment to be able to buy that. I like to make about 200, so that way I can get all the mass millings and get the Spirit of War, because you got to buy that too, and that's the primal spirit that you're going to get from your herb garden. So, level 3 garrison, and try to have a couple friends that have level 3 garrisons. I have a couple people in my guild. We go back and forth. I've taught them how to do this. So we help each other as far as when we have new alts that are coming up and getting those patterns. I have right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 8 tunes that have tailoring, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 10 tunes that have inscription, and they work hand in hand. So, first off, your followers. There's 2 very important followers to have. The first one is the one that's going to be working in your tailoring emporium, and that's the Pleasure Bot 8000. And you're going to get the Pleasure Bot 8000 in Talador. What you're going to do is you're going to head over to this location, and when you get to that location, you're going to see Pleasure Bot sitting there, and he's next to another NPC. And you'll do a mission, and when you're done with that mission, you're going to bring it back. You're going to kill a bunch of these eels that are in this lake here. You'll come back, turn that in, and then PleasureBot becomes your friend. The guy freaks out, and then you come back to your Garrison, and he is now a follower. And then to assign him, you'll click on your Tailoring Emporium. There will be a plus sign, a yellow plus sign. You can click it, and it'll show available tunes. Let me see if I have anything that can take a follower. So like right here, you'll see this plus sign. And if you have a follower that meets that trait, they'll show up there. This is for the Frostwall Mines. Obviously, I didn't go and get that. I could go and get it. It's not a big deal. So, PleasureBot. The other is Benjamin Gibb. And Benjamin Gibb, you're going to get him from the spires at Arak. And the closest flight point is going to be Axfall. You're going to go over here to this area over here. And this is where you'll be questing. There's an alliance camp there, and he's actually buried there, and you dig him up, and then he becomes your follower. There's other followers that you can get, throughout Spires to Arak, and I would suggest you get as many followers as you can. I'll do another video on getting followers, but pretty much you want to go to Admiral Taylor's Garrison, and that's where you're going to find Benjamin Gibb and get him as a follower. You can type him in Wowhead so you can get his specific location, and it's pretty easy, especially if you're 100 or above. So keep that in mind. And then your herb garden, very important also. Shadowhunter Rala, that is someone who shows up once you hit level 96 outside your main door of your garrison. You'll get a quest to go meet Shadowhunter Rala. You'll get that Rokham. He'll give you a quest, send you out to that outpost. There's about 1, 2, 3. You'll get a set of 3 that you'll do. You'll turn those in. Then you'll get 1 quest to go over and kill an area guy that's a baddie. You come back, and then you turn in a couple of those quests, and Shadowhunter will then become your follower. And when we get over to the herb garden, I'll show you exactly what that's looking like. Okay, so let's talk about some of the missions that you're going to see and you got to keep an eye out for. Okay, so, all right. I am not seeing what I need, but I did end up doing that. Okay, so as followers, I have 2 more that I can raise up. And for this particular alt, as you can see, they all have, max armor, max weapon. So it takes a while to get those up, and I just run the missions as many times as I can until I get them up to max. And then the best thing to do is come over to this vendor. This is why it's important to have a level 3 vendor. This trader doesn't show up until you're level 3. You go in here and you buy these Draenic weaponry and armor sets, and it brings their weapons level all the way up to 645, which is great because they start at 600. So that way you don't have to go through all these armor tokens and weapon tokens before you get them up to that far. And they're better at missions. So some of the missions to keep an eye out for is the Primal Spirit ones. So when you have a lot of alts that are pretty well geared, your percent of chance is going to go up significantly. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to get those 30 Primal Spirits. So I'm going to go ahead and start that mission. My guys don't need anything as far as anything else. Really don't need to be running any missions. But some of these will continue to pop up until you finish them. So lots of times I like to just clear them out so that way I'm not seeing them anymore. And when you get your shipyard, that's when oil starts showing up. But that's for a different video. So everything else, good to go. Now, there are some missions that do pop up where you can get rush orders for whatever profession that you have. I just happen to have tailoring and inscription on this one. And the last set that I did, I got a rush order for a scribe's quarter and got primal spirit. Now, sometimes you'll get there's a mission for 2 and there's a mission for 3. It rotates every day, and this is probably the most completely random part of the game is the Garrison. It's pretty amazing. So normally you don't get in the same rut. You keep getting the 2, keep getting 2, just keeping, it's pretty random. Okay, so let's head out. The next thing I like to do after running, so I like to grab my resources, go in there, refresh my missions. If I have any armor tokens or weapon tokens while I'm raising up my tunes, I'll affix those onto the followers and then run the missions. So that way it can go for the next set of missions. Then I come out to the herb garden. And here's where it's important to have Shadowhunter Rala out here. Because you can come over here and you can say what I want to plant next. For my tailorers and scribes, regardless of whatever they're doing, I will get the Gorgrond fly traps. Those are important as far as when you're crafting bags. And for Inscription, you can use whatever, but it's very difficult to get these free herbs, so I just go with fly traps all the way around. The only other one where if I got a lot of alts, I have like 30 alts that have level 3 garrisons, and most of them have the fly traps, but the other ones do have another type because my alchemist uses them, and what I do with that is I do the frostweed. So the majority of my guys do fly traps and the rest do frostweed. So go over here, pick these fly traps, and I definitely would pick them all because it's free mats, and these happen. They reappear after each daily reset, whatever it is in your area, and so you'll get the mat itself, and sometimes you will get some primal spirits in there, and the primal spirits will help you craft orders quicker than you normally would. So that's important. And when you're at level 3, you get more fly traps, you get more herbs than you would as a level 1. And here's the cool thing about when you're upgrading. So, and you'll upgrade through the guy where I showed you how to look at the followers. When you upgrade, pick your herbs, and then you upgrade. And it takes an hour. After an hour, you can come over and, it'll refresh to whatever level that you have it to, and then you can be able to pick again, which is great. So, and here's another cool thing. Say you're like, you know what, I'm going to bed. I just got enough resources, and it's like a Sunday night, and you do the upgrade, go to work, and then after work, you come by, and now the upgrade is done. You can still pick the herbs, accept the upgrade, and then go pick herbs again when the upgrade. Now, it's not as many as you would on a full day, but it's free herbs. So while you're picking, you're getting these Draenix seeds, and these Draenix seeds you turn into this guy, and after a couple days, you get the work orders, and they turn them into random herbs, which is great, because then you can mill those later. First thing I like to do, as far as my alts that have tailoring and inscription, is I'll come over to the tailoring first and make sure that there's plenty of sumptuous fur going, and most importantly is I don't want to mill my fly traps before I can use them. So this has a daily cooldown, and you can craft 20 hexweave when you're at max drainer tailoring, because it's based on your skill. So get 8, and then additional ones based on your skill. So craft that up. Now it's okay to do all my milling, which is fantastic. Another thing to keep in mind as far as making these bags, and I resell these and I make a pretty good profit, is the sumptuous fur. that you need to refresh your orders here. So as you can see, it takes 5 per order, and depending on if you have a follower out here, and I do, is how many work orders it can do. I have 32, so in 5 days, all of them will be done. And I got a follower bonus, so it should reduce that. So here's all the information that you need to know about that building. Okay, so I do buy the sumptuous fir. I like to buy the stacks at about 600 or less. If it's around 400, I'm pretty happy. That's where the average should be. But what's nice is a stack of 200 can make you a whole lot of bags. So even if you sell a bag for 200, stack of 200 sumptuous fir could probably get me 6 bags out of it, depending on how many rush orders I have going on. But if I sell 6 bags at 500 gold, that's $3,000. So that 400 to 600 that I spend on a stack can get me, $3,000, which is that's a good return on investment. So keep that in mind. Don't be afraid to, and sumptuous fir is such a pain to farm. I just don't do it. If times are tight, I'll use my resources and I come over to the trading post. All of my guys have a trading post because there's a pretty good. So I try to get it when it's 20 or under. 16 is optimal because 16 is the cheapest that these prices are going to be for Garrison resources. So raw beast hide, leather maker, that makes the 3 different type of profession bags, which is great. But here are the mats for your herbs. So people will come in here, they'll use their Garrison resources, buy the sumptuous fir, and then just put that on the auction house, and they're usually pretty cheap, and it's free money for them because you get the resources free every day. So why not come in here? Okay, so now it's time to craft our bags if we have any. Well, let me see if I don't have any rush orders. So let's see here. I don't have enough to craft a bag today because I did a bunch yesterday, so no big deal. Now we're going to come over to the inscription place, and it looks like I did not refresh my work orders. Well, I did not. That's why I have none ready. Okay. Which is, I guess that's why I have so many pigments. Okay. So once you have the work orders, go ahead and use these rush orders. You see, boom, ready to go. Completes those work orders for me because I'll show you when you open up Inscription, you can only make these spirits of war. Actually, it cools down daily. So right now, I was only to make 20. So it's just like the hexweave cloth on the other side. Unless I have these spirits of war, I use the spirits of war for the primal spirits for spirits of war because then I can craft cards, which I flip. And when I say flip, when you click the item, it flips it and it turns into another card, and then you can vendor that. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second after we're done with all these. All right. So while all those are going, I also have these mass millings. Remember, for drainer only, you got to buy the mass millings, and it takes cerulean pigments to buy that. So make sure you have 200, and then you got to find someone to help you out if you don't have the vendor. And more than likely, you don't have the vendor in your. I think, I've got 10 tunes that have it, and only one I was able to buy it from the vendor that actually showed up. So normally when I get the vendor, it's usually on an alt, and I'm like, I wish I could visit myself. And unfortunately, you can't do that. You can only have one toon on at a time. All right, so I'm going to clear out my inventory here because it's going to get kind of busy here crafting all these cards. And I'm going to show you how I make a lot of gold. All right, so that's done. We got everything milled. All right, Card of Omens. So those war paints that I just crafted, which were from up here and using the Spirit of War. Now I'm going to craft these Cards of Omens. Which is cool about that is I can make 25 stacks, and each stack will craft 10. Okay? And what I do is when I craft it, it goes over here in your bag, and what I do is I drag it over into a toolbar, in my second toolbar. This is my fighting toolbar, and I change it over to second toolbar. I miss those days where I used to have 6. But anyways, starting to run kind of thin on my toolbar. So once those are all crafted, all I need to do is click the number. There are auto clicks that you can buy, or you can, if you know how to do a macro to, and just have it click. This is only going to create me 250, so that won't take me very long. But the light parchment I like to buy from the vendor in the Great Seal. He is up by the quartermaster, and he's actually next to the Inscription tailor, or the Inscription trainer. So in case you need to find those. And I buy stacks of 200. I do that like 10 times, and then I just put it in my my bank, because each time you're making a stack of 10, so it's using 10 parchments each time. So keep that in mind. Okay, so now I got all these cards to flip, which is 250 of them, and then we sit here and flip them. Okay, so let me click on one of them. Click on the green one I just made. All right, let's see here, green. So as you can see, this green one, the sell price is 20 gold. Isn't that pretty good? Pretty cool. So, and you get cards that can sell for anywhere between 1 copper to 10,000 gold, and it's all completely random. On a daily basis, on average, I probably get between 800 to 1,000 gold. I think the best day I had for one particular alt was a $26,000 or 26,000 gold day. And I was able to flip one of the 10,000 gold cards, a 6,000, and a 1,000, and a bunch of the other random other cards that you get. Some blue ones, they're worth 50. Some of the green ones, worth 20 and below. I don't reflip any of the new cards. Like this green one, I can reflip. I'm just not even going to bother with it. Just go ahead and vendor it. It's free gold all the way around, and usually it doesn't turn out the way I want anyways. And but on average, if you have about 5 toons, one of them are going to get one of the epic cards, which will sell for 1,000, 3,000, 6,000, or 10,000 gold. I don't expect one to pop up here in these 250, only because I got one yesterday. So probably every 3 days or so. If you do this every day, you may get a purple, which is an epic card. So can't complain. Looks like it's going to be decent amount of cards. And then once you're all done, you can go over to this vendor here. Whoops, I don't want the spooky supplies. And I'm at 347 gold, so just go through here, sell them all. And we'll see how much we made. So We made about 400 easy gold and didn't spend any gold at all to be able to get all that. It's just time and coming in here with all the setup. Yes, it takes a lot of gold to set this up. Level 3 Garrison, eventually you're going to have to pay 2,000 gold. And then each of the Emporium upgrades, is about 1,000 gold each, plus the resources. So it may take a couple weeks to actually get everything up to where it needs to be, and then the followers too. So that's my process right there. And if I have any bags, I mail it to my banker tune, and I mail. If once my gold goes over 1,000 gold, I mail that to my banker tune, and usually I get between my 10 ults that have inscription, usually about 30,000 gold. Yesterday I got 27,000, so between my guys, and I raised up a couple of new ones, so that'll add to it. So hope that helps out, and enjoy getting the gold.